And welcome to the Factor Uncensored. We start with a tragedy that's dividing a Louisiana community down racial lines. A 19-year-old LSU student is dead tonight, and 3 men and 1 juvenile have been charged not with her murder, but for allegedly raping the college student before she was run over and killed by an Uber driver. Now, we're examining this case because there are questions. Tonight we've learned video has been released showing the female victim running up to the car to meet the 4 suspects before they left a bar near LSU's college campus. That bar is called Reggies. Now, are these guys charged because they raped her or because Louisiana prosecutors want a scapegoat to pay for her death? No matter how you look at it, a life has been tragically lost. Let's get to it with the latest from Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
What's the status now, and why is the community so divided about this case?
The community is very divided in this case. Right now, we have 4 individuals. 3 of them have bonded out of jail. This week, there is a juvenile who was also accused of raping Madison Brooks. He's being held in juvenile detention right now. This all stems from a situation that happened back on January 15th, where an LSU student was at Reggies Bar in Tigerland. They were drinking, they had gotten in, they had showed some IDs. We now know that Madison Brooks had showed a fake ID from what our sources are saying. It was someone else's Louisiana wallet ID, an electronic ID, to get in, saying that she was 21. From what our sources are saying, she had bought some drinks at the bar, was also drinking around the bar and other people's drinks on tables and things like that. Well, she left with some individuals at the bar that evening. They had gotten in a vehicle, and then she wanted to get out of the car, said she was going to get an Uber. So they let her out of the vehicle, and then they go home. The next morning, they wake up to these headlines that a pedestrian's been hit and killed on Burbank Drive, not far from that bar, and it turned out to be Madison Brooks.
Now, it's our understanding that there was some heavy drinking by all the parties involved, and many of them shouldn't have been in that bar, though, right? They weren't of drinking age, none of them, all 5.
The age to enter a bar in Louisiana is 18, but the age to drink here is obviously 21. So even if they were allowed to be inside that bar, 3 of them should have been eligible, but 1 of them was under the age of 18. So there's a big question about what ID he showed to get in. But the point is 3 of them were able to get into the bar, and it sounds like everyone was drinking. Her BAC, according to hospital records that we were able to read from the affidavit, was a .319. And when you speak to toxicologists and other people in the science community, they say that is extremely high, almost a lethal level. We did see some of the videos that some of these young men had filmed while they were in the backseat of that vehicle. They filmed a lot of videos back there, and it certainly appears that she's engaging in conversation. She's talking to all the people back there. Certainly did not appear that she was being held against her will. They're charged with 3rd-degree rape, and in Louisiana, that particular portion of the statute is that she was too intoxicated to consent. So that is going to be the big factor here, whether or not those videos prove that she was too intoxicated, to consent, or whether or not you have experts coming in saying that BAC would absolutely meet, there's no way she could have consented to having sex with these individuals.
And of course, you had a chance to view those videos. Did it look like she was under duress or being held against her will? What was her behavior like?
The videos that I watched that were provided to us from the lawyers absolutely did not look like she was in any sort of duress. I mean, she was obviously speaking to the individuals involved. She had asked to be released from the vehicle because she wanted to get an Uber, so they let her out where she wanted to get out. They had actually brought her to 3 different addresses, that's in the video as well, where she had told them to bring her. And then it turned out to, I guess, not be her home. And so, I mean, she's obviously communicating with all of them, talking to them. And so at no point in the videos that I saw did it appear that she was being held against her will in any way, shape, or form. But what prosecutors, I think, are going to hinge on is this 3rd-degree rape statute and whether or not her level of intoxication would have made this sex consensual or not. They're saying with that level of intoxication, she couldn't have consented.
Now, we have in this case where she was killed, but she wasn't in any way killed by these guys. She got out of the car on Burbank where she was hit by another vehicle. Do you think prosecutors and those in the community just want somebody to pay for her death? And rape would be an easy way to that, if that is the case.
That is certainly a valid, conclusion that you can draw. But at the end of the day, the driver who hit her isn't facing any charges because he stopped. He was not impaired. He was actually an Uber driver of all people, and he hit her. She was just in the middle of the road. But the community is outraged. You see this pretty girl who went to LSU. She was in a sorority. By all accounts, she was a good student. The president of the university says she was a respected member of the LSU community, and she winds up dead after a night of heavy drinking. So his whole focus has shifted to trying to target some of these bars who are serving some of these kids who are underage. And just this week in Louisiana, the State Office of Alcohol Tobacco Control temporarily suspended the license for Reggies to operate over her death. So
now, Reggies is a bar and it has quite a track record there in Baton Rouge, especially with violations.
That's right. And, it kind of opened the floodgates after her death. We kind of had a lot more complaints about it. But the owners of Reggies, the lawyer for Reggies, they are all cooperating with the State Office of Alcohol Tobacco Control. They've given them every single piece of video that they have in the bar. And from what we're being told by some of those owners is that it showed her buying the drinks. It showed her dancing with a number of people in there and also drinking drinks that were on tables and things like that for drinks that she didn't even buy. So at some point you have to question, is there some level of personal accountability on an adult, who's 18, who can register to vote, who can make decisions that way. But, people obviously aren't trying to victim blame, but at the same time, too, people here want to see somebody held accountable because no one at the age of 19 should die, especially under circumstances like this.
Back to the Factor Uncensored. We're continuing our coverage of the death of LSU student Madison Brooks. The rape allegations that have come out of this investigation are also putting a spotlight on Louisiana's longtime racial divide. Take a listen.
And Chris, what's obvious in this case, and the feel I get from Baton Rouge is, this is, yes, a pretty white girl. The suspects, 3 black males, 1 white male, and somebody wants someone to pay for this pretty white girl who was killed. And so these guys could be seen as easy targets. So it's my understanding Madison had an encounter with the white male in the car who was the actual driver, and you talked to the attorney about that. And according to the attorney, she wanted to have sex with him, according to the attorney. And when he did not, called him gay and said, what else did she say about him?
The attorney says that she slapped him.
Slapped him and called him gay.
That's correct.
Because he refused to have sex with her. And I think we have some sound from that attorney.
Using very vulgar language to the driver of the vehicle, insulting the driver of the vehicle, implying that the driver of the vehicle is not straight based on him not wanting to engage in certain activities with her. Again, it doesn't put anybody in the best light, but again, not being put in the best light isn't the same thing as rape.
So, Chris, there is a racial divide in Baton Rouge, in Louisiana, over this case.
That's right. And I think ultimately, we had a judge who set the bonds this week. And so that's just the judge who's setting the bonds. When this goes before a judge who actually hears the case, from what I'm being told, they are going to ask the judge to say, hey, look, judge, there's no probable cause here. And if a judge determines that there was no probable cause for the arrest of these young men, it raises questions about whether this case can even proceed forward, because, there was no probable cause and these men were arrested. When you see these videos, based off of what the attorney just said, it raises questions again. Was she held against her will? Was she a willing participant? Was she intoxicated to such a level that she could not consent or wasn't in her right mind? And those are all questions that experts, toxicologists, and a judge and a jury will have to ultimately decide.
Very difficult case and a tough case for the community there. Chris Nakamoto with WBRZ investigative reporter. Thank you again for bringing us this important information and this conversation that's going on there. Thank you, sir.